Well, hello, BookTube. Happy Sunday. I'm a little late in posting today, but I just wanted to really quick get on here and discuss the importance of reading to younger people. So Shelly Swearingen at Shelly Swearingen's Library and Jack at Spread Book Joy have a really wonderful project called Picture This, where you are promoting books, picture books that are, usually associated with reading to younger people. And I am really excited about this project. It's so important. It's something I feel very strongly about. And so before I get on board and present a picture book on my channel, I first want to tell you why it's important. So I'm going to begin with my discussion of Reader Come Home by Maryanne Wolf. Stay tuned. All right, so welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. I am Miss Thomas. If you're new here, please subscribe. And if you're returning, yay, thanks so much for coming back. And if you don't know me at all, let me tell you, my first heart is for reading and for students and helping students to read. And so I am in a graduate program that specializes in reading leadership, and there's a lot on dyslexia. I would have an area of expertise in the field of dyslexia, and the impact of reading on the brain is something I study a lot in graduate school, and I find very, very fascinating. And the main thing I want to tell you is it's so important to read to young people, to read to your children. And so this Picture This project is fantastic. In my graduate program, I needed to do a presentation, and I wanted to do a presentation on the impact of technology on today's learner. And my professor persuaded me to do this book, Reader Come Home by Maryanne Wolf. Now, Maryanne Wolf is a very, very respected dyslexia guru in the field of reading, and very respected author. So I read this book, and I did create a presentation on it for my faculty and for my graduate program. But as you can see, I highlighted a ton of things in this book. So, but the main thing I want to tell you is basically the bottom line of the book is that Wolf asserts in here that today's older reader lacks or is in danger of lacking empathy because we're not reading to our children as much as we used to. So the idea is that if you're reading to young children, you're teaching them empathy. And reading is it should be a very multisensory experience. And so Maryanne Wolf in her book talks about how when you're reading to a young child, there's so much sensory experience associated with that, and there's a lot of emotion associated to that. So if you have a child sitting on your lap, you're reading to them, and if you're cuddling the child while you're reading to them, and then there's bedtime stories that children enjoy, and all of that has emotional connections. And then there's also I thought this was interesting, in her book, Wolf mentions that a good parent might even allow their child to chew the book. And it was funny because when I presented to faculty, one of the teachers was like, "Oh, that sounds like fun. I want an edible book." But I was shopping for a baby shower, and I saw a book that had a teething ring attached to it. And I got that as a gift because I was reading Wolf's book, and it was very much in keeping. And the pages of the children's book, it was a fabric baby book, and it had like crinkly, noisy pages, and it had a teething ring attached. And I thought it was a cute book, but now I know there's so much research associated with why that book is of value to a baby, because of all the senses involved and all the positive emotions of being cuddled and having a new and fun experience with a book. It's so crucial. And we really, we do children so much good when we read to them. So I wanted to talk about that. The other thing that Wolf talks about in her book is the glut of information. I loved that, the way she worded that, the glut of information. The idea that information is just, coming at us so quickly all the time. And when you're involved with learning on technology, and you're looking at the internet and YouTube, even though I'm a YouTuber, so much is happening so fast that it's hard for the reader to slow the brain down and to really think and process about what they're doing. And so the idea is that when information is coming at you so fast and you're getting more and more conditioned to scan instead of reading deeply and thoughtfully as you would, when you open up a book and you're looking at paper and reading, it's a slower process and it slows the brain down, and that's important. She also talks a little bit about handwriting and the idea of writing to learn, and that when you're writing, actually instead of typing, the brain is processing at a more slowly, more deep level, and it's just a bigger cognitive use. It's a bigger use of cognitive function, I suppose. And the other thing that she said in her book that I thought was terrifying and yet fascinating is that it can lead to terrible impact on our democracy, because if younger people are conditioned to not read, actual book, pen and paper kind of book, they're just looking at technology to gain information, and they're not thinking as deeply or as slowly or processing to the extent that perhaps they would if they were looking at a book, then they're not going to be able, she submits to the reader that they're not going to be able to participate as intellectually in democracy, because democracy requires thinking things very deeply and really processing thought. And so she is expressing some concern over the way that could impact our democracy. And I thought that was a very interesting assertion. So I wanted to put that out there as well. Reader Come Home was a very interesting book that I think talks a lot about the importance of reading to children. And so I wanted to tell you, it's not just fun and wonderful to read to children. It is those things, but it's also so critical to their development as becoming empathetic contributors to our democracy. And it's just such a wonderful experience for them that engages all of their senses. And so I really wanted to applaud Shelly Swearingen and Jack at Spread Book Joy for this project. And I will be participating, but first I wanted to tell you why Reader Come Home is a great explanation of that. Thanks for listening. Talk to you later. Bye.